This is part 2 of our series. Today, we're going to build out the Architectural Review Committee section of this website. We've decided on OurSaranoa.com. It's a website. Saranoa.com by itself is available, but it's $15,000 a year, and so we're not going to go with that. This one is like $13 a year, something like that. So to buy a domain, you go into your sub account, go to settings, go to domains and URLs like this. Click on purchase and transfer domain, and then search for what's available. For example, Saranoa is what I search for. All of these show up. Saranoa.biz, Saranoa.club. And for commonality and awareness, a lot of people are familiar with .com. So just go with that first. Once you buy the domain, it's going to do its own thing, registering the domain with the registrar itself, and then you'll get this green box. Takes a few minutes, but it'll come. Next up is email services. We want our board members to be able to send emails. For example, president@oursaranoa.com. So go over to the left side here, go into email services. If you don't have one already, you'll see this pop up. Go ahead and say create dedicated domain, and you can enter your domain here. You may call this something like noreply.oursaranoa.com, which is pretty common for HighLevel, especially if you put something like president@noreply.oursaranoa.com, just as an example. This is not where the email would go. But what I don't like about this is it's unfamiliar. People don't receive emails typically from a subdomain email address. There's a higher likelihood that this email is going to land in somebody's junk mailbox. And especially when you're dealing with HOAs and real estate, you want those emails to land in their inbox. So if you're okay with taking that risk, go ahead and call it this and hit add and verify. For me, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to click on back to SMTP service here. And then in here, I'm going to add a service. And this is going to be an SMTP provider, simple mail transfer protocol, meaning there's somebody else, some service that's going to handle the emails for us. And I'm going to pick Gmail. This is going to increase the likelihood that these emails are going to land in inboxes, especially if they're going to another Gmail address, which a lot of people have. Gmail tends to trust itself. So for an extra $10 to $15 a month, you can add a Gmail email address and make your client's life so much easier. Now, what do we put in this email and password? I'm going to show you. Navigate to workspace.google.com. Click on admin console. Go ahead and create an account. I already have one, so I'm logged in. And then go down to add a domain. This is where we plug in oursaranoa.com. the domain we just purchased. Now you have an option, secondary or alias. The easy way to remember this is if you have a client that's separate from your own business, go with secondary domain. Most people will pick this. But if this is the business you're launching yourself and you want to keep everything consolidated to one inbox, just pick alias. But you're going to limit yourself to permissions later on. So even in most instances where you own both of those businesses, I would still choose secondary so you can build integrations with Go HighLevel. So we pick secondary and say add. Now we need to verify with Google that yes, in fact, we own this domain. The way to prove this is to edit DNS records. So say get started, switch to manual verification here. HighLevel is not part of the common hosts here. So we have to pick my domain uses a different host, and then continue. And now you'll have a text record, TXT, and a CNAME record that you need to enter into your HighLevel. Then come back, click this, and say confirm. And then Google's going to verify that yes, in fact, you control the domain. Because if you didn't control it, you wouldn't be able to edit any of the DNS records. So move this page over to the side if you have a second screen, and then go back into HighLevel. And we're back to HighLevel on this page. So we don't have an email yet, we don't have a password, so go ahead and cancel. And I'm going to show you how to edit DNS records. Go over to domains. Inside your domain, click on manage. And then DNS records is the second tab right here. Click on that and then add a record. And the first one you'll recall is a text record, TXT. Leave the default @ symbol and then grab the value from what Google shared and plug it in here. Leave time to live, auto, and save. And that's our first record. Next one is a CNAME. So add record, drop down, CNAME or canonical name, basically means nickname. And this one, Google gives us a name, go ahead and plug that in, and then value goes into the target. Also leave it at auto and save. Okay, just one more time. This is where I was getting that information from. That's the name, that's the value, That's a text record. That's a CNAME record. Okay, now that we're back, hit this and confirm. That's going to say getting your domain ready. Google is going out to the internet looking for that DNS record. And if it finds the DNS records it prescribed, it'll come back and say, your domain is verified, just like this. Now we're on second step. Start using Gmail with your domain, activate Gmail. Now we need to set up your Gmail, which means we need to update more DNS records. Hit continue. Now we can create an email address for anybody on ourserano.com. So let's go to add user over here. Because these are going to be assigned to a position rather than a person, I'm going to keep the names generic so we don't have to swap these out every time we have a new election or a board member swaps out. So this is architectural review, and the username is arc. And the domain we just added is ourserano.com. So when an email shows up, it's going to say, hey, it's from architectural review, and then the username is arc@ourserano.com, which means that's their email address. Probably better is just to say arc. And then committee. I know the C stands for committee. It's just like ATM machine. We'll go with that. And then add member. Great. Now we have a Gmail address for ARC. Proceed with activation. This is where we have to add another DNS record called an MX record or mail record. Switch to manual verification. My domain uses a different host, and then continue. Now we have to add this record right here. So I'm going to copy this one. Go back to HighLevel, under domain, under DNS records, add a record, go to type. This is a maintenance record. Name is going to be default at. The mail server is Google's email server. That's what makes us so valuable. We get to now leverage Google's reputation on email and land in somebody's inbox on the first try. Priority is 1, and time to live, auto, and save. Records added successfully. Let's go back to Google, and now let's verify. Hit the box, confirm. It's going to think about it. And Gmail is activated, just like that. So now we have a domain, ourserano.com. So when you navigate to it, you'll land on a website. And I'll show you how to connect the website here in a bit. And then we have email addresses for the board members, starting with arc@ourserano.com. Now there's some optional steps. If you had a previous account, you can migrate your data from your previous account to your new one so you don't lose any data. Authenticate outgoing emails. I recommend you do this. It creates more legitimacy. We're going to go ahead and say authenticate. My domain uses a different host. Continue. We'll get a 2048-bit encryption key and then say generate key. Now this creates another DNS record, DKIM. That's going to validate that our emails going outbound through Google is in fact sent by us, so nobody else can spoof our email addresses. So hidden behind this is you're going to get the name. That's what we need. We also need this value. So if you hit this copy button, just go ahead and grab the entire value. So one last time, back to HighLevel, add a record. It is also a text record. Here's the name. Now we're going to grab that big text, which is the key, and paste it right in here. And then we'll hit save. Okay, as such, and hit save. And we're back. So if you did this correctly, you would have 4 DNS records. Click the box down here and confirm. Now you're all set. Now, if you want to add more members, you go ahead and add users. For my demo and test, I just need 1 for now, so I'm good. Okay, now if you navigate to admin.google.com, this is where you can manage all of these users. You can set their passwords, reset passwords, deactivate the account, and you'll see that we have ARC committee right here as a user and the email address we just created. So I can go to reset password, rename, or more options. Let's go ahead and click on that user and we'll reset password. I want to create a password and then uncheck ask a user to change their password. This is because I'm demonstrating. So I need to know what the password is so I can add the account to my phone, for example, and be able to see that automation works and actually receives an email address. And then I can give that same login to one of the board members who can log in, and then they can start receiving those notifications as well. And not only that, let's say there's a committee of members. They can all share one inbox and now provide continuity because everybody has access to that same inbox, meaning none of the emails will slip through the cracks. Come up with a password that's not necessarily complicated, but make sure it's long. Reset and password successful. Now's a good time to email the password to that user. You can click email password, put in their email address, and go ahead and send it. I'm going to send it to myself. So you can send it to them and send it to yourself and then hit send. And how much does this actually cost? So creating one separate domain user is $8.40 per month. And now you can go to gmail.com and attempt to log in using that email address and password you just set. arc@ourseranoa.com. Next, the password we just set, and it works. Welcome to your new account. I understand. You can enroll in two-factor authentication, which is recommended. And in fact, as of April 1st, it's going to be mandatory. So you might as well do it. So enroll. And two-factor just means there needs to be something in addition to just the password. Because if somebody finds your password, maybe it's written down on a sticky note, they shouldn't be able to log into your email. Once they enter the username and password, we want the system to text phone number like this. Add a phone number. And if you're the admin, you can get the phone number. This is another security measure. So when your users are logging into your domain for the first time, you can be in that approval loop. Or if you don't, you can put their own phone number and they can verify themselves. Once you set it up, you'll now be able to jump into your Google workspace. And here we are, arc@ourseranoa.com, our very own inbox, and we even have some welcoming emails from Google. Your team will be able to set up Google Meets, manage their full calendar over here on the right, and all your holidays are pre-populated, very nice. And then you also have these 9 dots up here, which give you access to all of the Google apps included in your subscription. So you can use Gemini, the large language model, artificial intelligence. It can help you take notes, draft emails, bylaws, documentations, forms, and so much more. And then you have the complete Google suite, so docs, sheets, slides, whatever you need to build. And the one we're going to be using today is Google Drive. This is where we're going to get residents to upload images or regulations or any other document they want as part of our workflow on the website. But we're going to make this super simple. Residents are not even going to be familiar with the Google Drive. They don't even need to know this exists. Once we connect our website that we created to the new domain that we have, ourseranoa.com, I'll show you how this integration works. So here we are in base 44 where we built this website. You recall, enter portal, and then Arc is the page we built out so far. And we have our integration form right here. And this is what users are going to fill out in order to submit an architectural review. Like, hey, I need a new pool, or I'd like to paint my house. And that requires pictures. So when they upload these documents, those documents are going to go into the Google Drive. And when the admins of this website show up and they log in, they'll see a notification that says you can review this request. And then they have the option of clicking approve on that request, which will then generate an email that goes right back to the resident with a letter pre-filled with their approval that they can take or keep for their record, saying that they now have board approval. So let's publish this website to ourseranoa.com and make it live. Let's click on publish on the top right, and let's say get domain. Okay, to publish this website, we don't go here. This is after it's connected. We can hit this button to push these updates to the web, but we first need to connect it to the domain. For that, we go over here to the dashboard, top left. Click on domains on the left side, and that'll bring you to this page. Go ahead and say connect your domain. Because we already have a domain we're coming here with. So let's type in ourseranoa.com and say add domain. And now base 44 gives us the DNS records we need to add in HighLevel. So whenever somebody on the web navigates to ourseranoa.com, they're first going to go to our registrar, which is HighLevel. That's where we bought the domain. And then it's going to look at the DNS record. And the DNS record data is this, meaning I need you to go to this IP address, which belongs to base 44. So one by one, let's grab this information. So we're going to create a CNAME record, www, and then here's the value. So more DNS records to add. Add record with a CNAME, www, and the target. And save. Now next is add a name alias. You can skip that one because Go HighLevel does not have this. We're going to go with number 3. You have an option. So we need @ and this IP address. So copy that, add another record. This one is an A record, pre-filled out. Name is @ which is the default, and then the IP version 4 address, which is this, and save. Now we have all the DNS records. If you have 6 of them in here, you've done it right. If you need help, leave me a comment on this video or jump in my Skool community and direct message me. I'd be happy to jump on a screen share with you and set up your DNS records. Hit done, and now we have this pending. Now that we've added the DNS records, we can say verify domain. So now base 44 is going to go out to Go High Level, or the internet rather, look for those DNS records. They happen to be on Go High Level, and if those match, will be verified. So check status over and over like a madman, and then our Sarah Noah, green, beautiful. Now when we hit publish, we'll actually be publishing to oursarahnoah.com. So publish app, your app is published, and let's navigate to it. And now our app is live. Now anybody on the internet can go to oursarahnoah.com. They'll land on this page. And then you can either scroll down, learn about our community, click enter portal, and the main page, of course, is Arc that we've built so far. Now there's a couple ways to do this, and I'm going to show you both. Here's a form that's built in HighLevel, and when somebody fills this out, we need that to be packaged up nicely for the committee members in order to review that application, see all the pictures associated with it, and then click on approve. Now we can build that as a pipeline in HighLevel, or we can build it on base 44 and achieve the same results. So let's build in HighLevel first. Go into your sub account, opportunities and pipelines, and then click on pipeline. Let's create a pipeline, and let's come up with the flow. This is the process of how a submission is going to go from new submission all the way to approve or deny. Our review pipeline. First step is new submission, under review, and then approved. Let's go with denied. Well, there might be a point in here where we have to say returned for rework. Because let's say the package is incomplete or missing a picture. We want the community to be able to send it back and say, please add this picture. We don't want to necessarily deny it. Let's say request additional info and then create. And now we have a pipeline with 5 stages. Click on opportunities and pipelines. Now go back over here and click on opportunities. And now we have the flow. So any new lead, new form submission should create a ticket right here. And then the committee members can just drag that over to under review, which maybe kicks off some automations. Maybe we can let the resident know that, hey, we're currently reviewing your application. And if it gets kicked back for any reason, additional information, that can also generate an email. And then approved and denied can do certain things as well. Maybe in approved, we get an automated letter that gets drafted up saying, here's your project, when you submitted it, and then approved by the committee. Okay, so now we have the form, which is this. And when somebody submits this form, how does it end up in the pipeline? Well, for that, we need an automation. So let's go to automation. Here is our workflows. Now you can have an AI just go ahead and build out the automation for you if you can explain it to it. But I want to empower you on how to do this yourself. So create workflow, start from scratch. Now, once you understand it, you can have the AI do it and you just supervise. Okay, let's jump in here. You'll probably be in the standard builder. Let's go to advanced and let's give it a name first. Say Arc Review Workflow. Version 1. The first step is the trigger. When does this workflow begin? Well, it begins when somebody submits a form. Form submitted. And I'll be a little bit specific and say Arc Review Submitted. And then which form? Add a filter, form is, and we only have the one form, so Arc Submission Form version 1. That's one we created in part 1. If you haven't watched that already, go ahead and watch part 1 and then catch up, and then save trigger. So now we can execute this workflow. It will start. What's the first thing that should happen? Let's click on this and say create an update opportunity. Click that, and where are we going to create this opportunity? In the pipeline we just created, called Arc Review Pipeline. And what stage should this start at? New submission. And what should we call this opportunity name? Well, we don't have to come up with random information here. We have variables, placeholders, meaning we can now say things like, how about we start with the submitter's full name? So whatever they enter in first name and last name is going to get captured in full name. Now I want you to imagine you're a committee member. What information would you want to see in order to approve this request? How about their email address? How about their phone number? Maybe we can just get on the phone with them right away. How about the full address? Because we need to know where this work is getting done. And all the way on the bottom here, see, You see I'm clicking on this tag right here, so click on that. And then if you scroll all the way to the bottom, there's custom values. Click on that, custom values, or you can just search for it if it doesn't show up. So I'm searching for project, for example. I want the project type. Okay, search again. And these are all the custom fields we built in part 1. So I want the project description. I want basically everything. Estimated start date, the lot number, and the supporting documents. Okay, opportunity source is going to be from the form. We don't need that, and we don't need opportunity value because we're not making a sale here. And the status we can leave as open. We can allow that title to move from left to right. So if it was pending request, it can come back to under review, for example. Or if it was denied, it can actually come back to approved later. We can allow duplicate opportunities and leave this one closed, and then save action. So now, when somebody submits a form, we're now going to get an opportunity created on the pipeline. And that's right here. Okay, so that would be submitted. Now we need some notifications to go out to the person who submitted it, and then also the committee members. Before we set up that step to send an email, I like to create HTML emails that look really nice and professional. So let's go build those emails first. One to send to the person who submitted the form, and the other email as a notification that'll go to arc@oursaranoa.com. So we go into HighLevel, let's go into marketing for that particular sub account. Let's go to emails, templates, and then let's create a new template and blank template. And I like to do everything in HTML, so we'll go with code editor. So now the HTML code is on the left side and the email represented by that code is on the right. So we can either write HTML code by hand or get Gemini to do it for us. And what's cool about this HTML is we can also have variables in here that'll be picked up by Go HighLevel. So if we wanted to include the first name of the user, we could. Or if we wanted an address of the user saying we received your application for this particular address, we could include that as well. And how do we do that? Remember all these variables that we plugged in here? Well, you can copy those and give them to Gemini and say, only use the ones you think are necessary in this email. Gemini's put together this nice HTML, so let's go ahead and paste it here and see what it looks like. Here's Saranoa Architectural Review Committee. Here's the first variable, Dear John, whatever their first name's going to be. Thank you for submitting the ARC request. We have successfully received. And then it used all of the variables that I provided, which is pretty good. I think that's great feedback for a user to see what they submitted. It breaks it down into nice little sections for them. And then a nice little disclaimer or a notice, please don't start the work until you get approval. And then a link directly back to the website if they want to submit another one. Beautiful. I think it nailed it on the first try. Let's give this a template name, information, and save template. Okay, go back. That's the confirmation that'll go to the user. Now let's create a new one, blank template, also code. This one will be the submission notification to the committee themselves. And let's see what Gemini came up with. Internal ARC alert. Attention ARC committee, a new architecture review. This is great. And then also confidential for ARC committee use only. So they can click on this, go in, and then approve or deny. Although I don't like the logo over here on the navy. It doesn't look quite right. Okay, and let's see round 2. Okay, that's a little better. White background. I'm okay with the red, good name, and save template. Now we have the 2 emails we need to continue with our automation. So back to the automation here. And this is getting auto-saved, so you can always jump out of this, jump back in, no problem. And we'll see if it found our email. So let's hit this and say send email. Let's say email confirmation to submitter. From name is ARC committee. From email is going to be arc@oursaranoa.com. And subject is ARC submission confirmation. And this is where we get to pick our email template. So select existing template and submission confirmation. Click on that. That's the email that's going to go out. Also hit sync edits over here. So if I ever come back and change this template, it'll update this workflow email automatically. Now I like to turn on these track clicks and UTM tracking and add tags because it gives me more data. More data means I can create better dashboards. So basic campaign interaction, they open the email. So ARC submission email opened. It's like my own validation of making sure they actually received the email in their inbox and whether they opened it or not. And then save. Okay, and now let's send an email to our newly created email box and see what that test would look like. Send test email. Okay, so the good news is it landed in the inbox. The bad news is it's still coming from HighLevel. And this whole external thing, warning, I don't want. So we need to change that. I forgot to come from the Google addresses. Okay, but the email looks pretty. I like it. So far, of course, nothing's filled out because we haven't submitted the form. We're just testing, does the email look good? And yes, it does. So save action on that one. Now we have an email. So we're going to do one more email, which is going to be to the committee members. And then I'm going to show you, before we wrap this up, how to set up the Google SMTP servers to actually send this email, not go HighLevel. So hit add. We'll do send email. We'll say email alert to ARC. And we'll leave this default because that's going to come from Sarah Noah. It's going to pull in the business name. Same with the from, it's fine. And we'll call this new ARC submission in the subject line. It's got to catch their eye. And we can put in the address as a placeholder. Or how about lot number? A lot of people like lot numbers. I'll say select existing template. And this is the notification email we set up. Go ahead and sync edits in case we change the template later, and turn on all of these trackers. ARC alert email opened. Click and save. And I'm just going to save this one. No need to test it. It's an internal email anyway. And we'll go ahead and publish that and save. So now this workflow is live. If somebody goes to oursarahnoah.com and submits a request, it's going to trigger this workflow and send out these emails. Now, let's go fix that Google thing. So back out of here, go into settings, email services. You can close out of this and see how it says lead connector. We want Gmail. So add service, drop down, Gmail, and we're going to put our email address, arc@oursarahnoah.com. And the password is not going to be the password that you created with your Gmail setup. A common misconception. You actually need a password for this app. So log into your Gmail, go to the top right, click on this, and then you're going to see manage your Google account. Click on this. This is how we're going to get our password. On the left side, click security, two-step verification, throw in your current Gmail password that you had created, and turn on two-step verification and hit done. And then go back. And now you'll see this green right here. It's turned on. Now up here on the search bar, you can search for app password and it'll show up right here. App passwords. Click on that. Give your app a name. In this case, it's Go HighLevel. I'll say Go HighLevel Sarah Noah and then create. Now, as soon as I hit create, a series of numbers and letters popped up. I closed it already, but I copied them and then I bring them over to Go HighLevel and I use that as a password right here. Paste the password and then save. And now we have Gmail. And I'm going to click on this to use as my default. And that's it. Now any email that I send from this sub account or any of the forms or the automations is now going to come from arc@oursarahnoah.com, but mainly leverage the Gmail SMTP servers. So now we're ready for an end-to-end test. I'm going to pretend to be a resident who submits a request. And then I want to see that confirmation email land in the committees box. As a resident, I also want to receive a confirmation, and then I want to see all of the information that showed up as I submitted it in the form. So here we go. New resident just lands on oursarahnoah.com. That worked. Let's enter the portal. Let's go to ARC. And I want to submit a request. So we'll go with first name. We'll say it's lot 25. And the project type, let's say it's a new roof. And then the description. I would like to replace my damaged roof. This hurricane did a number on it. Estimated start date. I'd like to begin, maybe let's say May 1st. And then supporting documents, upload an image. I actually have a damaged roof image. I'll go ahead and acknowledge everything and then submit. We appreciate your submission. Okay, so submission test complete. Now let's see if those emails showed up. So here's the inbox. And we have new ARC submission, lot number 25. So that's working. Click open, and it says Serenoa internal arc alert, lot number 25, Sonic K, here's the number, email, phone, roof, date. No, I don't want to start. I want to replace my roof. And then the attached document. This is going to be key. When we click on this, I should see a roof. And I do. Beautiful. Okay, and if I'm the committee member, I can go right back into the Our Serenoa portal, but I haven't embedded the pipeline yet. We'll do that in our next video. So this will just take them back to the website, but I want to take them to the pipeline where they can hit approve. Speaking of the pipeline, let's go take a look. And sure enough, we have our request. So it said Sonic K email. I can click on that and it opens up the entire information. Okay, and basically, you know, as a committee member, I can move this into under review, request additional info, we can approve it, we can deny it, then we can move it back and forth as well. And for all of these stages, we can have automations here that trigger all sorts of cool things. And inside HighLevel in the conversation tab, you'll also see everything that was submitted. For example, the email that would have went out to sonic@combinator.com. So I messed up my email address, but this is the email that would have been delivered to the resident. And if you want this entire automation workflow integration form, and you want to skip the hard part of setting it all up yourself, join my Skool community, become one of my affiliates for HighLevel, and I'd be happy to help your business. The link's in the description. Like and subscribe. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks. If you want to do this yourself and you just need a little bit of help, join my Skool community, use my HighLevel affiliate link, and I will help you. Revenue that I generate from that, 20% of it goes into paid ads, and the leads, I share them with my community. With my affiliate link, you get a 30-day extended trial, plus a bootcamp that you can go through. I have a 15-part course that gets you from initial idea all the way to operational agency. You'll get hundreds of pre-built AI agents ready to go, workflows, automations, website templates. I also have 40+ businesses and marketing courses that you can then sell to your members. I'm heavily involved in my community. I join 7 days a week, so you can have one-on-ones with me where we can build things, we can do think tanks and come up with business ideas. You can even join my businesses where I show you what I'm doing day in and day out. Everything is completely free until I get to maximum capacity. Join now.